Ruben Amorim has been confirmed as the brand new manager of Manchester United, replacing sacked Erik ten Hag. The 39-year-old won the trophy at Sporting Lisbon, winning the top flight of Portugal for the first time in 19 years, and at Manchester United, it's a very similar situation. The board have set a goal of winning the title in 2028, which would be 16 years on from when United last won it. Amorim plays an expansive 3-4-3 system and has a transfer philosophy of his own, so we'll be bringing that to Football Manager to see if we can take Manchester United back to treble winners. Now, we are playing on an updated database with the updated Premier League table. As you can see, the date on the top right does say 2023. This is effectively 2024. So goal of one of the rebuild is to win the Premier League by 2027 here on Football Manager and make this Manchester United team great again. Now, when looking through the squad, we know the squad. We're Manchester United fans. Anyone watching this is a Manchester United fan or enjoys football, and you know the Manchester United team. It's fairly decent. We have got good players all over the place, but we're sitting 14th in the Premier League. So what is going wrong? I personally think just a bad run of form and a player's not playing for the manager. And that seems to be happened in a cycle here at Manchester United recently, and I hope it changes for Ruben Amorim. Now, for this first season, I'm going to be setting up in a 4-3-3 system because for the current Manchester United team, I think it's going to be very difficult to play in that 3-4-3, especially off the bat when Euro is injured and down in the under-21s. I'll bring him up before we start the simulation. When Højlund is injured, Ahmad is injured, Malacia is injured, there's not enough people rotating through. I might switch to it midway through the season, but to kick things off, we're certainly playing this 4-3-3 system, which sees Casemiro in the base, Mainu and Bruno Fernandes taking up their midfield 2 roles, Garnacho on the right, Rashford on the left, Højlund up front, who I think is going to be a fantastic Gyökeres lookalike in Manchester United. He runs the channel so well, he holds up the ball well, he links up play well, he's lightning quick and can finish. It ticks all the boxes for a Victor Gyökeres regen. He's only 20 years of age, so hopefully we can see Højlund in that role. My plan is for this first season to just skim through it because I want to get into using Amorim's tactics and get into how we can rebuild this team properly. We're of course in the Europa League, the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Community Shield. In real life, it's all going Pete Tong. I'll take top 6 at this point for this first season. Well, in classic, almost Ten Hag fashion, we did manage to get to the finals of some trophies. This one was the Carabao Cup, where we ended up losing to Liverpool. And made a mistake in the middle. Darwin Núñez goes through to make it 2 after the Salah penalty. We do get a goal back in just 32 minutes as Casemiro builds out in that DM position. You can see the system we were trying to play with the high wingers. Falls to Højlund, who finds Mason Mount, who scores to make it 2-1. But that was the game. We lost in the Carabao Cup final. It has been said now for 2 or 3 years that trophies mean everything at Manchester United. While I agree, we've just won 2 trophies and sacked our manager, so maybe that is not the case. And we're actually going to walk away from this season without any trophies. If we lose the Europa League final to PSG, the only thing that can't be solved in this database is the brand new league phase system for season number 1 at least. So PSG dropped down to the Europa League and ended up winning it. Of course they did. It's PSG, for God's sake. But going forward, it is going to be the league phase, and it's all going to be proper in the Champions League, etc. In the Premier League, we finished exactly where I thought we would. 6th place, a point behind Newcastle, which is frustrating. I feel like, sadly, that's who we're actually battling in real life. I feel like, and even in Aston Villa, who in this save have dropped down to 11th and won the Conference League, but I feel like that's who we're battling. We're in 6th place, Newcastle in 5th, a point above us, Chelsea in 7th, another team we're battling with, but the top 4 at the moment, including Spurs to be honest, potentially, but definitely the top 3 of Liverpool, City and Arsenal are just clear of us, and it's hard to say it, but it is the case, and it's going to be quite a task to actually get back to that. As mentioned, last time Manchester United won it was 2013, so we've got a long way to go if we want to be challenging for a Premier League title. And of course, this season is our last season playing a traditional 4-2-3-1/4-3-3. We're about to switch it up and play the Amorim way. And well, if you don't know how Ruben Amorim plays, there will be a video on the channel in the next couple of days on how Amorim is going to set up with Manchester United and breaking down this tactic that we are going to be using for the rest of this save that I have made. Based on videos I've watched of how Amorim plays, I'm expecting him to come in and adopt his 3-4-3 system with Manchester United. Now, the back 3, I think there's most likely is going to be Martinez, De Ligt and Leny Yoro. Dalot as the right wing back, Mazraoui as the left wing back. I actually think it will be Fernandes and Mainu, or Fernandes and Agate as the 2 central midfielders, with Garnacho adopting this sort of inverted winger / playmakery role. Rashford as the sort of the second striker, getting off of Højlund's classes as this complete forward. As I said, I'll break it down a lot more in a video coming out of the channel in the next couple of days of exactly how I think we're going to play. For this season with Manchester United, though, there is positions that I think desperately need improving if we are playing this system. Mazarao, for example, is not a left-sided left wing-back. We need our left wing-back to be able to get forward, put crosses into the box and supply goals. He is much more of a link-up player. And while Nuno Santos at Sporting does do that role, I think we're looking for someone that can definitely be left-footed and sort of adopt that role as well. On the right-hand side, Diogo Dalot, I actually think he's very strong in that position. We saw him on the weekend against West Ham. I was at the game where he missed an open goal, but a fantastic inverted run where he gets in behind and he nearly scores. I mean, I don't know how he doesn't score, but we can see that he can get forward and do them runs. He can cross balls into the box. He can drop it onto his left, onto his right. I think he's good enough for that role. The midfield two of Ugarte and Fernandes is very, very interesting. I think Bruno Fernandes could also certainly play this right wing role. I'm going to do it for the most of this rebuild that he plays in the midfield here with Ugarte or Kobbie Mainoo. This is my only issue with Amorim coming in, is there is only two midfielders. At Manchester United, we've got Bruno Fernandes, Kobbie Mainoo, Mason Mount, Casemiro, Ugarte, Eriksen. I mean, even like a Dan Gore coming through the academy. There's a lot of midfielders to go into them two positions. It's going to be interesting to see how it works with rotation, but maybe actually having players fight for a position is going to work a lot more. Now, obviously, I'm going to go forward, make some transfers. We've got £80 million in the bank, £180,000 in wage budget. And of course, for this updated database, we do have the updated Wonder Kids as well. So the likes of Amir Ibrahimov, who has come through the academy, is on the game. And by the end of this rebuild, I want to see him influence the first team for us as well. Kai Rooney is also here as a 14-year-old with a value of 115 million. Again, another player that I want to keep an eye on for the rest of this rebuild. If you guys are interested in how these players actually end up developing, I'm going to be paying very close attention, getting these guys loans, getting them minutes out on loan, and we'll see how they all develop because they're all brand new to this updated database, which is going to be linked in the description down below from FM Inside. It is absolutely fantastic and it is free. And there is also one more star that we have got here at the club to mention, Chidozie Obi Martin. This guy has been absolutely fantastic in real life since signing already from Arsenal. He's played one game, I believe, for the under-18s and scored 3 goals in 15 minutes. He looks absolutely incredible. And I think by the end of this rebuild, he could be our star/rotation striker. And this rebuild could take 5, 6, 7 years, of course, to get us back to being triple winners. He's a Danish 16-year-old. If you don't know about him, what are you doing? Go and research a little bit about Chido Obi Martin. He is unbelievable. 6 foot tall, great pace, great determination, great finishing. Again, I want to get him out on loan. I want to get him developed and play in the men's game rather than just under 18s and under 21s football. Jack Fletcher, Harry Amas, I want to see what we can do with them as well. Toby Collier hasn't quite got the update potential in this database, sadly, but it's understandable. We can still get to a decent championship level for him. And finally as well, Sekou Kone, someone that I think could be really good in real life. Again, doesn't quite have the potential here. Potential championship level player. Be interesting to see if we can develop him. So a very exciting club here at United, which we do have, of course. It's just not felt exciting for a very long time. But let's get into the transfers and actually get fully into this rebuild now. The start of season number 2, where we are looking to build an Amorim team. Now, something that happens when every new manager comes in, as they go to their old teams and they have a look at players that were there. And someone that Amorim has developed fantastically at Sporting is Eduardo Quaresma, a centre-back/central defensive midfielder who is just 22 years of age, has some fantastic attributes. Great speed, good marking, tackling and heading, great ball playing ability as well with 14 passing and 14 technique, and great determination. He's just 21 years of age. Of course, you've got the likes of Ousmane Diomande at Sporting, Coates at Sporting, but Quaresma is the young one coming through the academy who I think could be a standout player for us in this rebuild. And yes, don't worry, of course, I've also brought in Victor Gyökeres from Sporting. There's going to be a lot of links to this guy coming to United now that we have got Amorim in charge. His talent identification to find him from Coventry and bring in one of the best strikers at this point the world has ever seen. His stats are simply ridiculous at Sporting Lisbon. It's close to a goal every single game. It is mental. He is wanted by the big clubs all over the world. I think we actually have a chance of getting him now. Now we've got Amorim, an 18 finishing, 18 determination, 20 natural fitness striker like Victor Gyökeres could be absolutely fantastic and be very exciting to bring in. He only cost us £48 million, which is pennies to what I think it would cost in real life. I think it'll be 70, 80 million. And I do think he comes in and replaces Joshua Zirkzee. I think the experiment, especially with Ten Hag going, is probably already over. He is on the transfer list for us and is wanted by Bayern Munich and Inter Milan. So we're going to be saying goodbye to Joshua Zirkzee. I was actually really excited when he came into the club. I've seen him now for over a couple of months, and I just don't think he's up to Premier League standard. I think some players just suit certain leagues, like a Lukaku now really suits Serie A because of the pace of the game. I think Xerxes similar. He absolutely smashed it at Parma. We're just not Bologna, sorry, not Parma. We're not seeing that Xerxes in the Premier League at all. And I just think it's the way he plays. I don't think we're going to see it either. I think it's better to try and bring in Victor Gyökeres and sell Xerxes. And on that sales front as well, we made some decent money selling Casemiro to Al Ali, Victor Lindelof to Atletico Madrid, and Taro Malacia to Girona to raise £81 million. We also loaned out and sold Luke Shaw. We ended up getting £1 million from Spurs from that with a future fee on that. So that's another player out the door. Luke Shaw is just someone that it's just not worked out for, has it? He's had too many injuries in the past. We've got rid of Ten Hag before Luke Shaw's gone. I don't know how that's happened. We've got to say goodbye to Luke Shaw. I'm sure he's going to be out the door pretty quickly. So said goodbye to him, and he's going to join Spurs. And his replacement coming in is 21-year-old Italian left wing back Matteo Retegui. Now this guy is very, very exciting. He is just 21 years of age, as mentioned. He is consistent. Great physical stats, but what I like the most is his build-up play and his crossing ability. 17 crossing, 14 technique, 13 passing, and decent defensive stats as well. At just 21 years of age, he moves the ball to his left foot, he gets down the line, he'll link up with the other players, the left centre mid and the inverted left winger. And I think someone like Matteo Retegui could be a fantastic signing for Manchester United, and someone that I think we should certainly be looking at in real life. We have also signed another young winger because we've got rid of the likes of Anthony as well, and that is Jamie Bino Gittins, who comes in from Borussia Dortmund. Now, I didn't want anyone to come in and replace Rashford or Alejandro Garnacho or Amad Diallo, really. So I've brought in a fourth winger at Jamie Bino Gittins. Of course, he's English, came through the City Academy. Very similar to like a Jadon Sancho move. Hopefully this one doesn't pan out in the same way, but it's got electric pace, great flair, great dribbling, great technique, and it's hopefully going to be a good player for us. And to finish the window off, we've signed two backup/rotation options. Number one in Samuel Brindelli, who is a backup right back, and number two is backup centre back Alessandro Ciccardi, signed from Parma. The Australian centre back has 5 caps already at 20 years of age. He's consistent, great defensively, and again, it's got that good build-out play from the back, which is good to see, and is physically very strong as well at 6'3". Now the team now, I think, looks a lot more well-balanced and well-rounded. We're looking at a team which holds Onana in goal, De Ligt, Lenny Yoro and Martinez as the back three. De Ligt currently is showing as way not good enough. I'm hoping he develops this season. We're going to give him this season because I think we have to, and hopefully he can turn into a really good right-sided centre-back. Dalot as the right wing-back, Araguri as the left wing-back, Mainu and Bruno in the middle, Rashford, Garnacho and Gyökeres up front. Now, I do expect the rotations to get a lot of minutes. We've got Europa League football, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and just general rotation. So Bayindir as the backup goalkeeper stays in, but Quaresma, Maguire and Ciccardi are our back three centre-backs. I have kept Harry Maguire because I do actually think, as a middle centre-back, he could be very good. In this way, he doesn't have to try and chase the channels. He can sit there, defend the box, and build out as well, because his passing stats are quite good, and they're very good in real life as well. You're completely mistaken if you think Harry Maguire isn't a fairly decent ball-playing defender. He plays the ball behind players sometimes, hasn't got the greatest scanning, but as a defender who can play short, simple passes, he can certainly do it. Got good heading and good physical stats as well. So Maguire could also be an option in that middle centre-back role. Or, of course, we play Quaresma and we have De Ligt as the middle as well. That could also be an option if Euro doesn't impress. Now, Dalot as our right wing-back and Riguri as a left wing-backs are great. Backups there, Brindelli and, of course, Mazraoui on the left-hand side. Agate and Mount are fantastic backups to Bruno Fernandes and Mainu. We've managed to clear all of the other deadwood as well. The likes of Eriksen, Casemiro have both left the club. Amad Diallo and Garnacho here are going to rotate a lot, I think. Amad Diallo seems almost tailor-made for a Ruben Amorim system. A fantastic floating inverted winger that likes to get involved and good high press, good technical stats, good dribbling, etc. He could be really good for that position. And Rashford on the left-hand side again seems sort of tailor-made to that left-hand side. He is sort of more of the striking option from that winger position. When you often watch Amorim build out, it ends up being almost a box, and then you have sort of a 4-2-2-2, and you have Rashford and Gyökeres up front, and I think that could be absolutely electric. Or, of course, Rashford and Højlund up front, because I do expect Rasmus Højlund to still get a lot of minutes in this system. This is much more of the two that I want to see at Manchester United. It's a lot better than Xerxes and Højlund. There is now sort of more of a clear number one in Gyökeres, but Højlund, who is still, remember, just 20, 21 years of age at this point, can come in and develop. So that is the team set for this season. The Premier League table have us predicted to finish down in 5th place, which I think is fairly decent. I think it shows that we've built a fairly good system. We've brought in some good transfers. We're now ahead of the likes of Newcastle, Chelsea and Villa and chasing down that top 4 pack. And will you join me in the semi-finals of the Europa League as we faced up against Aston Villa and we put them to the sword. Victor Gyökeres making it 1-0 there in just 25 minutes. And you can see the build-up play happening here. Mainu and Garnacho linking up. The width being kept by the right wing back, but the underlapping run from Gyökeres making it 2-0 in 73 minutes. And we are going to grab a third as well. Again, Mazraoui holding that width down the left-hand side. Finds Garnacho in the middle. He just passes man. And Gyökeres grabs a hat-trick to beat Aston Villa 3-0. In the second leg, it was a 3-3 draw, but it does mean we're going to the final. Well, we are facing up against Napoli, who are actually playing a very similar system, but slightly more defensive. So we'll be looking to be the team on top. And a great ball there from Mainu into Mount to find Gyökeres again in behind, makes it 1-0. But Napoli come back in the 90th minute thanks to a Lukaku back post header to make the game 1-1. Rasmus Højlund is now on in extra time and he is going to be influential. You can see there we are going to rerun it because Bruno Fernandes has changed position in this specific game. We're playing Ugarte and Mainu in this central midfield place, and Bruno Fernandes is now playing as this inverted winger role. And I think this could be where Bruno Fernandes ends up, playing more as that sort of high up the pitch, linking up play. It could be a very good option because we've got Ugarte, Mainu, Casemiro, Eriksen, who can all play in that central midfield spot. We could see Bruno Fernandes get higher up. Now, Bruno eventually plays a fantastic spiral pass into Rasmus Højlund to make it 2-1, and we are going to make it 3-1 as well in the 105th minute. As Bruno whips it in, front post, Rasmus is there, a 3-1 lead. They are going to score in the 115th minute, a corner of their own, but we are going to come away as Europa League winners with a 3-2 victory and the first trophy of the rebuild ticked off. Now, sadly, it was the only trophy of this season as we got knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup and in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup as well by eventual winners Manchester City, who beat us on penalties after a ding-dong 4-4 game. And I mean, they also have Vinicius Jr., so we really are up against it in this rebuild. In the Premier League, though, we finished exactly where expected, in 5th place behind the clear top 4 by 9 points, but ahead of Newcastle, Chelsea and Aston Villa. It's exactly what the season preview said, is exactly what happened. Erling Haaland grabbed 43 goals and City ran away with 94 points, but a very decent season for us. Transitioning into this brand new style of play, a trophy, securing Champions League football, I don't think it's been a bad one at all. In terms of the data hub, we can see defensively, things aren't quite there just yet. Lenny Yoro isn't quite cutting as that right side of centre back, and neither is Eduardo Charisma just there ready yet. Goal scoring wise though, things are looking fantastic, and you can see that through the schedule. If we sort this by result, there was some incredibly high scoring goals. I mean, Newcastle was a 6-2 victory, Fulham 4-3, Ipswich 4-3, seeing the defensive fragilities there. Leicester 4-1, Rangers 4-1, Fulham 4-1, Puskas Academia 4-1, Norwich 4-0. Some big losses, 4-3 and 4-3 to Stuttgart and Palace, showing defensively we were not quite good enough, which means there's going to be some tactical tweaks coming in, of course, but also potentially some new signings. In terms of the goal scorers this season, it was obvious to see the system suits Victor Gyökeres down to a T, not just at Sporting Lisbon, here in the Premier League as well, as he grabs 38 goals in 52 games. Rashford absolutely excelled, 42 goal contributions in 50 games. Now, I was debating selling Rashford in this rebuild to be a little bit different and interesting, but I actually think now that it's been confirmed as Amorim is the coach, I think it can certainly work out for Rashford. I think a front three of Gyökeres, Rashford, and having Bruno Fernandes in that right side of the attacking midfielder role in games that potentially are going to be more difficult for us, having him in the right wing, we've seen that a few times with the different managers. I think here with Amorim it could work very well. He grabbed 19 goals and 19 assists as well, and Garnacho, who played primarily on that right wing, 15 goals and 12 assists. The front three absolutely cooked. Rasmus Højlund, 37 games to the bench, does exactly what he needs to do. 15 goals in 9 starts and 37 on the bench is very, very impressive. Mason Mount, 12 assists. Mazraoui, 12 assists as well. Mason Mount as well as someone that I think could also excel in that sort of right attacking mid, right inverted winger role, and in the deep line playmaker role when he comes back from injury. I can see Mason Mount and Nagate being a fantastic double pivot in that midfield. Currently they play with Morita and Hillman. I think that's a very similar matchup there, and Mason Mount looks like he could find a manager here at United to stay. So overall, there's not too many tweaks I want to make to this team. I do think Onana works as an Amorim goalkeeper, but I'm potentially looking to replace him just to move on from Erik ten Hag, to be honest. Lenny Yoro as a middle centre-back as well, I do think will change. Lichter, I think, will stay as a left-sided centre-back, and the same for De Ligt. I think they are both absolutely fantastic. And I think actually a back three suits Lisandro Martinez even more, because he can now get into that left sort of wing position as the left wing back sometimes moved up to be a sort of inverted cam role. Martinez can go there and be sort of a shape the back four up, and he can be the left back and progress with the ball, be aggressive. It's what he does best, and he has players behind him covering him. So I'm very excited to see how that works for sure. Ruggieri was a very good signing this season, 34 games, just 5 goals and only 7 assists. So certainly needs to improve that a little bit, but certainly a decent signing down the left back side. And then Mainu as well is obviously now going to be more of a rotation player, which is very difficult. I think it's a difficult system to get all of the midfielders involved. He still played 43 games. It's probably good for his development to not play 60 games starting, and it looks like it's helping him a lot here as well. 16 started, 27 off the bench, a 7.05 average rating. We are going to see Kempi progress into a really good player, hopefully. But overall, a few signings needed, £78 million to spend, and still some deadwood to clear as well. Well, in terms of the outgoings, there has been quite a few. Harry Maguire has left the club and gone to join Everton for 18 million. Luke Shaw has completed his deal to Spurs, and Brindelli, well, he's been sold to Outer Wound, because to be honest, I was meant to bring in a backup left back and sign a backup right back. The left back I have signed to come in is Alexa Terzic from RB Salzburg. I think he is the perfect backup left back for Matteo Riguri, because he's a little bit more defensive. He's a little bit more of your traditional left back that can also get forward, but maybe is defending first. So in them bigger games, someone like him is going to be key. And there was only 2 more signings, because I actually think the team is now set up pretty well to play this system. And the signing I've made in middle centre-back I think makes perfect sense. It's Ruben Amorim from Atletico Madrid. He's got good physical stats, good defensive stats, and again, good ball playing ability. Another thing you see when we watch Ruben Amorim and his highlights and tactical breakdowns of him is that his middle centre-back sometimes goes in to make that double pivot midfield as they then build out in the 4. And Lenormand can certainly do that with fantastic passing technique and good speed. So if he needs to have recovery pace, he can do it, but also great defensive attributes. And mentally, he is very sort of clued on with good concentration, composure, etc. And even looks like Quartez, so maybe is the perfect centre-back for the role. And finally, I have also signed a brand new goalkeeper in Diogo Costa. Now, obviously a rival of Amorim's when he was managing Sporting, but also Portuguese. So Amorim, Diogo Costa, Diogo Dalot, and Bruno Fernandes making that sort of Portuguese link, I think is something that could happen at United, a bit like Ten Hag done with the Dutch links. I think Costa coming in, also Eduardo Quaresma, could also join a little Portuguese clique and could be nice to see. I think he replaces Andre Onana. Now, there is something to be said about Andre Onana, because I do think he could certainly be a very good goalkeeper in a Ruben Amorim system. He's a fantastic build-up from the back goalkeeper, which we see a lot in Ruben Amorim systems. But Diogo Costa is rated slightly better at it. And if we actually look at Andre Onana's stats, kicking and passing wise, and I completely agree with this, by the way, in real life, Diogo Costa completely smokes him. Now, Onana was signed to be a fantastic ball-playing goalkeeper. I actually think he's just mental. I don't think that's always a bad thing. His ball-playing ability is good. It's nowhere near as good as I think we were sold on before he came. Sometimes his long passes are wayward. He seems to never really go short. Decision-making seems to be sometimes a little bit poor. I don't know if it's the way we were set up under Ten Hag. I suppose we'll see that this season with Onana. But Diogo Costa has that better ball playing ability, and he can also play the long balls, and is less mental, just 7 eccentricity rather than 19. Onana has left the club to go and join PSG, so he'll be over there as their main goalkeeper. Which means the team is now looking like so, with Diogo Costa in goal, with De Ligt, Lenormand and Martinez as the left-sided centre-back. A much more stable, strong and experienced defence. I think we're going to see that Data Hub show a much better defensive record this season. Dalot comes in as our right wing-back, with Riguri as the left wing-back, with Mainu and Bruno in the middle. Garnacho as the right side, Rashford at the left side and Gyökeres up front. The backups, though, equally strong. Bayindir, Quaresma, Yoro and Shikati. 3 great young centre-backs there, with Mazraoui, Mount, Agate, Terzic, Amad Diallo, Bino Gittins and Rasmus Højlund up front. Ahmad sadly is not progressing and is not getting that much game time. I'm keeping him at the club because I want to see if he can progress, but I'm not too hopeful. And the final thing I want to touch on this season is how the resurgence of Rashford happened last year. It's something that I've been talking about for quite a while with Rashford myself, is that I believe that he plays better when he has a wing back next to him, like Luke Shaw. And that's exactly what we're getting out of him in this system with Riguri, because Rashford can concentrate on what Rashford wants to concentrate on, trying to score goals. Let's face it, he's a shoot more often, shoot first kind of winger. He's an inverted forward who can play as a striker. He wants to score goals. He doesn't always want to run down the wing and try and set someone up. As selfish as that is, sometimes he just wants to be a bagsman. And I think in this sort of system, it can actually work really well because the ball will sometimes go long right to Gyökeres, who will set it off into a Rashford to then run through, or will flick it on for Rashford to run in behind and Garnacho to link up play, or if it's Bruno Fernandes, Rashford will definitely be the second striker up there with Gyökeres, and you'll almost see this sort of build-up play in here as Rashford will go in as almost as a shadow striker and go and help Gyökeres while Bruno drifts in and creates chances. Riguri gets up wide. We then make the back four, and it all transitions very, very nicely in a Ruben Amorim system to where we could eventually look something a little bit like this, I suppose, is what I think it will look like in the match sometimes. We have sort of a base DM here, probably not of Garnacho, but Agate and Mainu. We then transition into this back four. Riguri as an attacking left back gets right up there. He can link up play, he can cross balls. Rashford comes off of Højlund. Bruno links up the play. And we could eventually in the game look something like this. I think that's very, very exciting and actually suits us a lot with the signings we've made as well. So tactically, I think we've sort of mastered the Ruben Amorim system, and I think the transfers we've made help it a lot. And the season preview says that as well. We're now up to 4th in the table, above Spurs, chasing down Arsenal, Liverpool and City. Can we win it in season 3? We are just a year away now after this season of needing to win it to match the board's expectations. This season has gone absolutely fantastic, but we start things off just 40 seconds in to an FA Cup final as Marcus Rashford finds Victor Gyökeres, who blasts it past Jordan Pickford to make it 1-0 in the first minute, and then we have the second of the game. You can see exactly what I've been speaking about. Martinez playing into Mainu and Riguri getting down the line while Rashford concentrates on getting into the box. Riguri drives down the left-hand side, he finds Marcus Rashford, and we score to make it 2-0 in 23 minutes. Riguri then has a free kick from the right-hand side, finds De Ligt to the back post to make it 3-0, and we grab a fourth as well as Kobbie Mainoo is dispossessed. It falls to Riguri yet again. This time beats his man, finds Rasmus Højlund in the middle for 4-0, and Manchester United win the FA Cup. Now, it's something that Erik ten Hag done, of course, but this one just feels a little bit different. A 4-0 victory, an absolute battering, and it's not the only trophy we've won this season. In the Premier League this year, we went on a ridiculous unbeaten streak from September to the end of January. We finally lost to Liverpool at Old Trafford 3-2, but a 4-month unbeaten streak, scoring a whole host of goals. You can see 8-1 against Aston Villa, 5-1 Palace, 5-1 West Ham, still sometimes conceding too many goals, but we were a dominant force this season, which is why we eventually won the Premier League trophy in 86 points. 26 wins, 8 draws and 4 losses, with Marcus Rashford as the second top goal scorer in the league and the second best in average rating. Riguri as the third joint best in player of the matches, and in clean sheets, Diego Costa comes third as well, and Riguri also comes top of the assists, showing exactly what I'm talking about with this left hand side we have built, and it worked. Absolute dreams. We won the Premier League title, we won the FA Cup. That is an absolutely fantastic start, and in terms of the team, we scored the most goals on 88, but we were also semi-decent defensively this season. Last season 1.8 I think goals conceded a game. This season just about 1.1 with 43 goals conceded. And possession wise, we do like to try and keep possession as Ruben Amorim. 56% of the ball is 5% less than his average at Sporting, but in the Premier League that's probably to be expected. 56% is fantastic. We had the most shots for, but most importantly the most points on 2.26 per game, and you can see that improvement here in the data hub as well. We are much better defensively now, we are better at scoring goals, and in terms of how we're scoring goals, it's coming from the positions we expected. Marcus Rashford as that left inside forward this season grabbed 34 goals in 54 games, and he's learnt that role now. He's back to playing his best football, and I think this could be a fantastic new era for Rashford. Gyökeres grabbed 23 in 55 games, and his backup partner Rasmus Højlund, who is now rated the exact same, scored 21 goals and got 4 assists, which again just shows that Rasmus Højlund, while he is a young striker, we need to remember that he can learn off a striker for a couple of years. He's now only 23, and you could say next season he'll be our new actual number 9. Bruno Fernandes was absolutely fantastic again, 20 goals and 10 assists. And Mason Mount, again, proving the doubt was wrong, 10 goals and 13 assists. That left-hand side, Ruggieri, 26 assists and 3 goals, with Dalot grabbing 12 assists and 2 goals as well. Terzic, again, showing the left wing-back role, even as the backup, grabbing 9 assists, is absolutely fantastic. And I genuinely couldn't be happier at how this rebuild has gone so far. It has developed exactly the way I wanted it to. Players have had the minutes I wanted them to. Mainu here has played 60 games, but half starting, half of the bench. The rest have been Mason Mount and Manuel Ugarte. Now remember, Ugarte was a player that Ruben Amorim had at Sporting Lisbon. Now here at Manchester United, absolutely cooking. I'm sure he's going to cook under Amorim as well in this system with United. In terms of transfers next season, we've got £68 million and 350k in wage budget. I don't know how much of that we're going to spend. And that's because now we've won the Premier League and the FA Cup. We just need to win the Champions League and do the treble. But our young players are developing at a fantastic rate. We have here Chidozie Obi Martin, who has just got an unbelievable record. 10 goals in the Championship at 18 years of age. For his first season in men's football is fantastic. He's developing into a fantastic young player. We've also got here a wonder kid from the academy, Tia Den Vazalm, another striker who looks very good, just for finishing, but still looks decent. And finally, Amir Abrimagov as well, one that we're really looking forward to seeing how he develops. Great physical stats, great finishing, dribbling, first touch, determination and flair. I actually want to develop him into a central midfielder, so that's what we're going to train him on for the next couple of years. And more due to his age, we haven't quite been managed to get Kai Rooney out on loan, but I believe as of this season, or maybe next season, it is going to be possible, because now at 16 years of age, he is developing very, very well. He has got really bad consistency, which isn't good. I'm hoping he can maybe come out of that with age. I'm not quite sure how it happens with, you get really, really young players on this game. But he has done very, very well in the games that he has played. He's scored 29 goals in 66 games non-competitive this season. And exciting just to see him in the match engine. So as mentioned, there wasn't going to be many transfers this season. And in fact, I only brought in one. It's Thiago Guevara, a Portuguese winger who I think really suits this inverted winger role that we've got on the right-hand side. With great dribbling, flair, passing, technique, and off-the-ball work, he seems to suit it really well. He has been signed from Benfica, but came through the Sporting Lisbon Academy. And I believe actually Amorim was through the Benfica and Braga Academy and ended up managing Sporting, so maybe loyalties mean nothing in Portugal. I've got absolutely no idea, but this guy has cooked now for 2 years with a 7.44 and a 7.39, and finds himself joining Manchester United as the rotational winger with Alejandro Garnacho. I have also signed Giovanni Quenda from Sporting, who is a brand new wonder kid on this game. Now he's not currently showing as being absolutely incredible, but that can still change with dynamic potential. This guy's got ridiculous potential in real life, and you can still get him to be fantastic in this save. And the reason that I'm trying to get these wonder kids playing as good as possible is because this save file is available on the Patreon for you guys to get your hands on. If you're a Manchester United fan and you want to play the Amorim way, this save file is exactly what you need to be playing for the rest of FM24. We can pick it up at the end of Season 5, end of Season 1. You can start your own transfers, or you can pick up from me at the end of this rebuild. But you're going to have Giovanni Quenda and some fantastic wonder kids all developed. It does cost £5 a month, but it helps support me massively as a creator. And of course, you get to download the exact Ruben Amorim tactic that I've been using and the rebuild save file, so you can see what I've done. And if you want to play on and dominate the world. And well, due to that, Gueva is the only change in the team, as Garnacho now potentially drops to the backup. They're both going to rotate quite a lot, and I imagine this season Bruno is also going to rotate into that right wing position. So an exciting free-flowing system, as we know, but that is the only change into the season, so it's time to get into it. Of course, we are in the Champions League this season, and I didn't mention it last season because, well, obviously we didn't win it. We got knocked out in these semi-finals to Manchester City, which was absolutely heartbreaking, which is probably why I didn't mention it. We lost 2-1 in the end, and they went on to win it, which isn't good, and I believe they've won it now in back-to-back seasons, and Liverpool won it the season before that. So we need to get our hands on the Champions League because we can't be having that. And And will you join me again in a Champions League semi-final, this time at Manchester United against Barcelona, and a fantastic header there from Marcus Rashford to make us 1-0 leaders in this game. Before the 22nd minute, Guido Rodriguez finds Thiago Almada to make the game 1-1, but we were going to bounce back. Another corner, Ruggieri finds Lenormand at the back stick to make it 2-1 in 44 minutes, and we grab a third as well as Eduardo Quaresma drives to the right hand side. He finds Mainu, back to Quaresma, a great back stick post cross, and Mason Mount is there to score for 3-1. We do win this tie eventually after 3-3 in the second leg, which means Manchester United are going to a Champions League final. Well, we are met by an Arsenal side with Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. The wonders of Football Manager simulation. Well, Declan Rice is going to get them off to a great start. 1-0 in just 9 minutes, but we are going to retaliate. Ugarte finds the ball into Gyökeres to find Mazraoui holding that width on the right-hand side. Finds Gyökeres in the box. He misses the ball. It falls to Rashford, and it's 1-1 in 22 minutes. And it takes all the way to the 90th minute, but that hybrid zonal and man pressing system works a dream. Rasmus Højlund picks the pockets and bags to score in the 90th minute and wins Manchester United a Champions League trophy. One for the history books. United are back as Champions League winners, just the fourth in our history, and that one is the first since, I believe, 2008. And again, we showed some fantastic form in the Premier League this season, scoring a whole host of goals, displaying our true tactical strength. With this Amorim system, we are dominating the Premier League, which means it is back-to-back seasons now that we have lifted the trophy, winning it by just 1 point ahead of Chelsea. Who'd have thought it, eh? Us and Chelsea taken over ahead of Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester City. Newcastle still down in 5th place, but we are Premier League champions yet again. And it's interesting to see because this season we didn't quite score as many goals. Well, at least it doesn't seem so, because Rashford scored 26 and got 12 assists, but Rasmus Højlund was our second top goal scorer with 24 and 2 assists in just 14 starts and 36 off the bench, meaning Victor Gyökeres has fallen off a little bit. 14 goals, 10 assists, so good to see that link-up play. But just a bagsman, 46 games played. He is wanted. I am tempted to sell him and make Højlund our star striker. And that would also mean bringing in Chidozie Obi-Martin as our backup striker, which sounds quite fun. He has now had 2 seasons at Hull City in the Championship and is getting better and better each season. And is progressing at a ridiculous rate as well. So I think we could see that happen. Bruno still absolutely cooked though with 14 goals and 15 assists. Garnacho 10 goals and 6 assists. And new signing Thiago Gueva did grab 10 goal contributions but didn't quite cook in the system as we hoped. Ruggieri dropped off from 26 assists down to 11, which was probably always going to happen. But still a fantastic season, and it's good to see we have won the double. Have we won the treble though? No, we haven't. Remember last season we won the FA Cup final 4-0 against Everton? Well, in the 5th round, they beat us 3-0, which means there is another season still to go in this rebuild as we look to make United treble winners. So again, there is just 2 transfers coming in, and number 1 is Nico Schlotterbeck coming in from Borussia Dortmund, a centre-back that I wanted us to sign before he went to Dortmund because of his fantastic ball-playing ability and great speed. I think he can come into this United team now as a fantastic player for us. And that's because Robert Lenormand has left the club to go and join Al Nassr. This wasn't actually my wanting. He's had 2 very good seasons here. He was just wanting to leave because Al Nassr had put 650 grand on the table and he wasn't acceptable. We wasn't rejecting that, and of course he wasn't wanting to stay here on like 150 grand. So sadly, the Saudi money has won over Lenormand. We have also sold Alessandro Shakati to Aston Villa for £28 million. Now this guy has developed very, very well, has been a great sort of bit part role player for us in that right centre back position, but has now moved on to another Premier League side. And we did sell Victor Gyökeres as well to Barcelona for £134 million. Where have they got that money from? That Spotify deal must be going absolutely crazy. But we'll certainly take it. He is obviously absolutely fantastic, and I would love to see him at Manchester United. I'll just take the 134 million vote and use Chido Obi-Martin as the backup to Rasmus for Season 5. The only other signing is backup centre-back Jean-Claire Todibo, released from West Ham in the end after his contract ran out. Is a great 6th choice centre-back. Sadly, someone we haven't seen develop at all here in this rebuild is Lenny Yoro. In this database, he just doesn't really seem to get game time. I am obviously the manager, but I do simulate seasons. I don't lock players into position because I like to see the rotation the game chucks up. it just doesn't rotate Lenioro in at all. So he's pretty much played 0 games, 8 games in 5 years, which is pretty poor. Sad to see, but it is what it is. Our overall team is looking very, very strong now, though. Slotterbeck drops in to that middle centre-back position. Martinez, De Ligt, Dalot, Ruggieri, Mainu, Agate, Bruno Fernandes in that right-wing position, Rashford and Rasmus Højlund, which means Garnacho and Gueva are now our 2 winger backups. And I've decided now at the age of 33 that Bruno Fernandes can now come into this role. Rather than having to be an engine in midfield, he can now get creative in this right-wing position. And you'll see what I mean this season, because he is going to absolutely cook. And this is where he could play for United in real life right now. We'll return here back again in another FA Cup final with Manchester United against Chelsea, and Mason Mount putting us 1-0 up with an absolute screamer and celebrating in front of the Chelsea fans. Absolute legend. He made it 1-0, Owen made it 2-0 in the 85th minute as well. Mount found Ruggieri, eventually trying to find Obi Martin in the box, who is the backup striker, but it bounces off Chilwell and goes to 2-0. Chidozie Obi actually played quite a few games this season. 4 starts, 28 off the bench, grabbed 8 goals, got 3 assists, and you can see from his progression just how good he is. He is wanted by clubs by Crystal Palace. He has obviously now got 3 caps for Denmark as well, and is partnering Rasmus Højlund up front. For you guys that do pick the save up on Patreon, he is developing into an absolute demon. We do check out his progress and his attributes for all time. They have gone up a hell of a lot. I mean, stuff like composure, as players get older, goes up. So he's gone up to 11 in that. Finishing at 16, acceleration at 17, pace at 17. You've got yourself here a striker set for the future. And what he's going to have his impact as well. We're here in the Champions League final, but not before we see a Rasmus Højlund masterclass. Mason Mount makes it 1-0 in 14 minutes to make us 1-0 leaders. But before that Højlund masterclass, PSG are going to grab a goal back through Jadon Sancho. In the 27th minute, he finds Xavi Simons in the box to make the game 1-1. And then now we'll cue on the Rasmus Højlund masterclass, shall we? Bruno Fernandes whips it into the front post, where Rasmus is there to make it 2-1, and we have the lead in this Champions League final. Mazraoui then finds Mainu to find Mazraoui again, finds ball in the behind to find Højlund, who again we know can do that system. That's his second of the game in just 46 minutes. PSG then trying to build up from the back, high press from the midfield. Agate wins it back, he slips through Højlund, and that, ladies and gentlemen, technically is a 4-minute hat-trick. 1 on the 40th minute of half-time, 1 a minute after half-time, and 1 3 minutes after half-time. Ridiculous. PSG are going to score to make the game 4-2. So I suppose we should now try and run away with this game, shall we? Bino Gittins tries to find Obi in the middle because we've taken Højlund off. He's just grabbed the hat-trick. Bino Gittins eventually finds Mason Mount to make it 5-2. And we are going to see the 6th goal in this game come from that man, Chido Obi Martin. Mount and Garnacho linking up. The pace of Obi Martin gets him behind the defence and he slots it in to that top corner. 6-2, an absolute drubbing of PSG. And we're now at 25 years of age. Rasmus Højlund has developed into one of the best strikers in modern football, scoring 34 goals, getting 6 assists in 59 starts. He was simply outrageous this season, and of course that means he led us to another Premier League trophy, 91 points, 86 for Arsenal. An absolutely dominant season when Manchester United lift the Premier League yet again. Average ratings wise, it's Ruggieri and Rashford. Costa with the most clean sheets. Rashford joint second on goals and second on player of the matches as well, which is great to see. But overall, what a fantastic rebuild it has been here with Manchester United. In terms of the data hub, this has improved so much since the start of this rebuild. Now a 0.61 conceded per game, 2.18 goals scored per game, and the goals are coming from all over the place. Højlund, Rashford and Bruno Fernandes in that right attacking midfield role getting 26 goal contributions. Mason Mount, Chido Obi Martin, Ruggieri grabbing 17 assists, Mazraoui with 10, and we've got some wonder kids here now that are really developing into players that can be used in the team. Amir Ibrahimov we kept in the first team this season and has started training him into a midfielder where he is going to develop into a top talent. That's up to you guys to carry that on over on the Patreon. Ron Morgan is a wonder kid that came through the academy. You've got a fantastic young backup left back there who can certainly do bits, but of course a couple of real players as well. Tyler Fletcher developing into a top tier midfielder, just played 45 games in the Championship for Preston. Shea Lacey, this update has made him amazing. He's at Rotherham where he's grabbed 16 goal contributions in the Championship. Again, is fantastic to see. And an 18-year-old Kai Rooney who is on the verge of becoming a superstar. So that is it. A Ruben Amorim system has made Manchester United treble winners again. Is it going to happen in real life? God, I hope so. We won 3 Premier League trophies this season in 5 years. Do you think, in the comments down below, Manchester United are going to win that Premier League trophy before the board one in 2028? Thank you so much for watching. As always, you guys have been legends. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy this video as well. Make sure to hit that like button, and I'll speak to you next time.